Apparently, in this February BTO and SBF launches, I got several things completely wrong. So here's a breakdown of the things that I was mistaken about and a couple of new realizations I've picked up along the way. The first one is that I have underestimated Tampines. I used to think that the kings of HDB were always the towns right on the edge of the CBD area, places such as Queenstown or Toa Payoh. I figured Tampines, yeah, it's popular, but it should not be like astronomically popular, but apparently I was dead wrong. In this BTO round, Tampines with projects like Tampines Bliss and Tampines Nova saw an explosion in applications. Even though the location is technically further out, it became the most oversubscribed town. The math was simple but brutal. There's very limited supply, but there are a mountain of applicants. Even compared with other towns, Tampines really blew it out of the water. And this trend is not only for BTO, because even in the sale of balanced flats or SBF, Tampines was one of the town that a lot of people was chasing. It is officially the east side, best side in the eyes of many. So as you can see, Tampines only have about 102 units available across all different types for SBF. But then the amount of applicants as of today is already more than 800 applicants, and the number will continue to grow until the end of the sales period. So clearly this indicates how popular Tampines is. I guess I underestimated the power of regional hub because it's not just a suburb anymore. Tampines is a powerhouse. With the Changi Business Park and airport nearby, there are a lot of people looking for housing in that area. Not everybody needs to travel to the CBD area on a regular basis. And then another thing that I've noticed is that the preference to avoid strict restrictions is actually real. I genuinely thought that by now, most people would be used to the plus and prime restrictions, and I assumed that people would just accept the 10-year MOP and the subsidy clawback and the harsh restrictions for the future resale buyers as the new normal. But SBF numbers actually tell a different story. Looking at the balance unit in Queenstown, Bukit Merah, and also Kalang Whampoa, there were plenty of units available across all different flat types. As of today, I can see that Kalang Whampoa and Bukit Merah flats for 4-room type is quickly being taken up, but Queenstown is a different story. If you want a more dramatic example, take the 3-room. For all of the 3 mature towns that I've mentioned, they have quite a lot of supply of 3-room in this SBF, and all of them are still undersubscribed as of today. Queenstown in particular is interesting because the application rate is still rounded to 0 because there's just simply too much supply versus the demand. It seems that people are still hesitant because the 10-year wait is a long time to commit before you can sell or upgrade, and it's clear that many would rather take a standard flat elsewhere than be locked into a prime unit for a decade, especially in SBF, where you can still buy projects from past launches. And then another thing that is interesting is that the overwhelming hunger for 2-room flexi is real. I thought the demand for 2-room flexi units would be manageable, but then looking at the statistic for this time around, the numbers was absolutely overwhelming. Even though the supply was very limited across different towns for SBF, the application rates were sky high. I think I underestimated 2 groups of people. Number one is singles. Now that singles have more flexibility to apply across various locations, they are definitely going all out. And then for seniors, many seniors are looking to right size or unlock cash for retirement, and they are competing for the same limited pool of 2-room flexi unit. Regardless of the town, the demand was far beyond what was available. It's clear that the 2-room flexi is no longer just a niche option, but it's something that people are really looking for. The next paradox that I've encountered is the CCA. When I look at the numbers for CCA in this SBF, there's a massive differences between community care apartment and 2-room flexi flats application rate. There was actually a decent supply of CCAs available in estates such as Bedok and Geylang, yet the application rates remain surprisingly low. On the flip side, the 2-room flexi SBF units were absolutely swamped with senior application rates hitting high double digits in some popular towns. It made me realize that I completely misread how seniors view assisted living. Here is why I think the CCA didn't quite take off this round. Number one is the care stigma. I think especially in Singapore, because we in general have good healthcare, right? Many seniors are still quite independent. The mandatory basic service package, which includes 24-hour emergency monitoring and a community manager, might feel too much for those who aren't ready to admit they might need help. And then the second thing would be costs. Paying for a care package upfront, which can cost between $20,000 to $60,000 depending on the lease, on top of the flat price, is indeed a big commitment. Many seniors seem to prefer just to take a regular two-room flexi and then pay as they go for external help only when they actually need help. And I think another barrier for CCA is the resale restrictions. So unlike a typical two-room flexi flat, which can be sold back to HDB or to be sold on the open market if it comes with a 99-year lease after MOP, a CCA cannot be resold or rented out at all. It must be returned to HDB. So probably this is also a turnoff for some people. It seems that the CCA concept needs a lot more socializing to convince seniors of its value. Or perhaps rolling these out via the high-pressure BTO and SBF ballot is not exactly the right strategy to reach the target audience. I don't know, guys. I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe for CCA, it would be better off if, let's say, there is a more consultative approach, or if, let's say, the application is open year-long instead of like very high pressure, 8 days, apply now or wait for the next one, BTO and SBF exercise, right? It's kind of tough. And then another surprise that I've noticed is Kim Cat Crest. One thing that really caught me off guard was the mixed stack situation at Kim Cat Crest BTO at Toa Payoh. I noticed that while there are dedicated rental blocks, some blocks are actually shared. So for example, level 22 and under are rental flats, while level 23 and above are two-room flexi BTO units. Indeed, we've seen this before in past projects. So for example, in Bishan Terraces, just in 2025 launch, HDB also did something similar. But then at that time, I thought that HDB only did this because Bishan was a super choice location and relatively near to the MRT station. I figured that it was a trade-off for such a prime spot. But Kim Cat Crest, objectively, is actually quite far from Toa Payoh MRT station. You cannot walk, you have to take the feeder bus. But it still has this integrated layout. While I understand HDB's goal of promoting social inclusivity and preventing rental enclaves, I clearly underestimated how widespread this design would become. I don't know for sure what is the logic for them to decide like which development would get the mixed stack and which development would just get full rental block. I don't know. Comment down below if you notice any pattern. I think what would be interesting is in the upcoming June 2026 BTO launch, there is a mega project which will contain almost 2,000 units in Bukit Merah. It is basically built in the Keppel Club old grounds. So it will be just across the street from the Berlayar Residences BTO. I wonder whether HDB will put in mixed stack in that development or not, because in terms of size, that project will be very big. So we'll see how it goes. Even though personally I'm open to it, but based on the comments online as well as comments in this channel, there are some people who are concerned about how sharing a block might impact their future resale value or daily maintenance. But I mean, it is what it is, right? It's not like we could choose what HDB decide. I think the only thing you can do is that if you don't feel comfortable, then you pick another town or you buy resale or something like that. But what about you? What are the things that you were surprised with in this BTO and SBF launch? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.